And welcome to another exciting adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and my background may look different because I'm actually coming live in Tallahassee, Florida. So I am so grateful for tonight's guests that are joining me. And before I introduce them, I want to do a quick shout out to one of our guests who from the bio I read was a veteran. So I want to say thank you for your service. Really appreciate the sacrifice that you made. So thank you for that. And also want to recognize I met this team with my friend Captain Rob in Oklahoma. And so it was such a blessing, and I was so excited. We had such fun. I am so glad we could get them on. And without further ado, I am going to introduce you all to Tammy, Jill, and Brooke, aka API, Afterlife Paranormal Investigation of Oklahoma.
Hey. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's a stormy night here in Oklahoma.
Yes, it is.
It's a good night for some ghostly tales.
So, Tammy, many of you recognize because she's been on the show a couple of times, which thank you for that.
Thank you.
And why don't we have Brooke and Jill introduce themselves to the audience because this is their first time appearing.
Go ahead, Brooke.
Brooke Montoya, and I'm the team founder, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And
I'm a dog that you're going to hear again. So I'm so sorry.
Velvet is being very vocal at Brooke's house tonight, right? But Doc's sleeping right here, so he might join in pretty soon.
my birds are being quiet. My name's Jill Stokes. I've been on the team for about 5 years, and maybe borderline team skeptic and and comic relief.
Yeah, I gotta say, Jill, I love that you're the skeptic, so to speaking, because that is something I think a lot of teams don't utilize when they do investigations. And that actually, I feel like, is maybe an important feature to have on a team because they're the ones that are not going to buy into everything going, oh, yeah, that's this, that's that. They're going to question it, which is good.
Yeah, and Tammy and Brooke are both pretty level-headed when it comes to that too. But
We are a big debunking team. We really
Yeah.
are. I mean, when something happens, we don't just look at it face value and go, oh, look, a cat ball lit up. It's a ghost. That's totally we're like, why did it go off? Was there vibration? Did we step somewhere and the floorboards are loose? We constantly are like, we want to know that the content we're putting out is good content.
And that's needed. And I remember one of my investigations, I had a rocking chair start moving that had a doll in it. And I was like, oh my gosh, did I bump this? Did I start it? And not notice. But the thing was, is I said, can you stop? And it stopped. So I was able to get it to start rocking, but I could never get it to stop on command. So I was like, partly debunked. And I talked to another paranormal investigator and I told him about it. And his words were, you did exactly what you needed to do. Congratulations, you're a paranormal investigator. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it takes very little requirements, right?
It's like, shit.
So, Brooke, what made you form the team and get started in the paranormal?
Well, I was on a tour one place out of state with my oldest. I think he was in like maybe a senior in high school at that time, or just out of high school. And somebody had mentioned that they were doing the tours in order to be able to investigate with their team. And I always was interested and kind of skeptical. And so I thought, oh my gosh, why have I never thought about joining a team? I never even thought about this. So when we got back home from vacation, I located some local teams and joined a team in Tulsa. And because they had an opening, and which was honestly a great choice because they trained me really, really well. They're a very reputable team. And so I got some really good experience, and I found a team here on my side of town because I live in Oklahoma City, and Tulsa's about 2 hours. So I was about an hour and a half. So I was driving pretty far to go on investigations. And then that worked out great, but I just had a different kind of vision of what I wanted to do and wanted to do more. Our team was just kind of laid back and just like as things come up type of team. And so in 2019, I started my own team. And we've been together since.
That's very cool. And one question I like to ask people, and I'm curious your answer, and I'll ask it to Jill in a little bit, is what was your aha moment when you sat down and said, this experience is totally why I got into paranormal investigating and made me a believer?
Hmm.
If you've had one.
Jill, I'll let you first.
I mean, there were some weird things happening in my house growing up. So that probably really got me started. And maybe I got the reinforcement in several locations that we've done. And yeah, it started pretty early for me. And I just get constantly reinforced every time we go on an investigation. So does that answer your question?
It does. And I want to ask a question of you, Jill, because of your veteran status. Do you feel like when you go on investigations, some of what you were trained and some of what the discipline and all that, do you feel like that impacts you as a paranormal investigator, and maybe some spirits, may interact with you differently because of that?
I think it does. I think it probably touches on all parts of my life, and including the paranormal. It does kind of keep you a little more calm under pressure, I think. And interaction wise, they probably interact with me less than they do Brooke and Tammy. And that's partially me, because I'm sure I have this, this defensive wall up. And yeah, I think it does affect how they interact with me or don't interact with me.
Very cool. And
it definitely keeps her calm, though. I mean, like, I can attest to that, Jill, because there have been so many jump scares and things that have happened, and even things where we scare each other, and you're always like the one that's like just sitting or being calm, and I'm jumping over you, or we're running down the hall, like getting our, wits about us or something because we were caught off guard, something like that. But yeah, I agree with her on that.
And Jill always Jill's always the last one out of a dark room with her back to whatever we're leaving.
Definitely behind you, but I know Tammy's followed behind me before. So
Yes. Thank you.
So I have a question for all three of you, and you can answer it your own way. What is your goal and hopes in the future of API?
Hmm.
He's hitting us with the tough questions tonight.
No kidding.
Well, I got to get them out of the way before we get to the fun of what we experience.
Well, I'll start. I think
Yeah.
that we've been together. Let's see, the teams have been around almost 6 years. We've been together 5, us 3. And that's a long time to have consistent team members, truly, like in this field. That's a long time. And the first year, I couldn't tell you how many people we had come and go just in the first year, you know? So the fact that, so my goal is that we continue to do what we do in a way that is ethical and with integrity, and continue to stay together and grow this relationship that we have right here, the three of us, and just continue to do this until we maybe can't climb those stairs anymore.
That's so funny that you said that.
Getting close. Getting close.
Well, I mean,
Literally seeing in my head, like, here we are 60.
With walkers. Yeah.
Give me my name. I got it.
I can attest to, I'm kind of smiling, laughing too, because it's like I can attest after spending one investigation with them, they are definitely authentic, integrity based. I was very impressed, and I was surprised how stuff would be going off in another room, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's just that equipment." It's like nobody was like jumping up to go, "Oh my god, what's going on in there?"
that's a pro and a con. Sometimes it takes a little bit too much to get us excited these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like we feel like we're so, I don't, I'm going to use the word spoiled. Okay. But we feel very spoiled because we have had so many incredible, wonderful experiences that cannot be debunked. We don't even know how to tell you what happened. We have things on camera we can't explain. And then we go to some, other locations that are slower paced or maybe not known to be as hella haunted, and we're just like, okay, this is lame. And then we feel so spoiled because we're like, why can't that happen every time, but it doesn't. And you know that, Michael. Ghost hunting is more waiting around and trying to get that one little tiny thing that happened in 6 hours than it is a bunch of little things that we can't really say are paranormal for us. So that's why I say we feel kind of spoiled, because we always are looking for that needle in a haystack.
And
you also get a little desensitized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was funny because when Tammy goes, "Oh, come and investigate with us at this location," I was like driving over there, and I was like going like this, going, "Please let something happen," because this is a long drive. They're going out of their way to do this for us. Please let something happen, because if nothing happens, I'm okay with that, but it'd be so cool if something did happen.
I know when you reached out and you were like, "I'm going to be in Oklahoma. We want to come meet you guys." I was like, "Where are we going to go?" The spur of the moment. It was quick. So yeah, but we've had a lot happen there at that particular location. And it kind of just like nurtured it, I guess, along the way. So
Yeah, it's a chill place, and a lot of times we'll just go like play games and stuff there, and we'll get a lot of interaction just by basically, not diving into the intense paranormal type investigation,
Mhm.
and they seem to like it there. So we really like that spot.
And I'm going to back up a second because, Jill, you never really answered your goal and what you're looking forward to in API.
I mean, the same old thing. We have such a good time. I just want it to keep going. Um, it, and we've been doing a lot more like not as much private residences here lately. And you can go to a location that overnight or something that rents and just have such a good time. And I just want that to keep going.
Yeah. And I just love learning about the history of these places. What, I never want to know before we go in because I want to use my mediumship. And Brooke always wants to go in and not know because she's sensitive. So we always try not to know. And Jill always knows everything. So
They sent me in by myself. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
you're always with the person that owns it or whatever first.
Within earshot.
Did you hear that? Brooke still wants to go in by herself next time first. She said it.
Got it.
I'm kidding. But the history and just like kind of when you get information on a place after the fact and it's like, wow, that's incredible, and you had experiences that can back it up, that's what it's all about, is telling the history, giving them that voice. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and you touched on with Brooke being sensitive. There's a lot of people that throw that term around and go, "Oh, I'm sensitive to this or to that." And I'm curious, what is your view, Brooke, of why you say you're more of a sensitive and what that means to you? Because, like I said, so many people throw that around, and I'm betting people are sitting there like, isn't a sensitive the same thing as an empath? That's the same thing as a medium?
Kind of. I mean, it can be. There's so many different ways that you can um get information in that way, right? But I just don't love the word psychic medium. And I don't practice my skills like a psychic medium would, but I do receive information not maybe as consistently because I'm a little bit newer in my skills, if that makes sense. So I've read tarot for a long time, like cards for a long time. And over time, my intuition is built. Paranormal has definitely like strengthened my skills. Um, but I would say like being able to like see someone's loved ones and get messages is kind of newer, maybe in the past year and a half or so. And so I don't know, just because I don't practice, I don't do like gallery readings and stuff like that. I just don't love that tagline, psychic medium. It just, I don't know. Yeah.
No, it makes total sense. And I appreciate that because everybody is different in their own skill level and what they want to do and practice. So I think it's great that you guys allow that freedom to do that. And I'm sure, Brooke, if you ever wanted to do galleries learning, I'm not going to mention names, but someone in your group would gladly help you with that.
Oh, that's okay. I'll let that be her thing.
Hey, Jill.
Jill's over there just chomping at the bit to get that started.
Someone asked me on Facebook, Jill, if you ever had any paranormal experiences while you were deployed.
No, and I really wasn't looking at that time, so there might have been something, but and I just wasn't paying attention. It just was not on my radar at that time. So
I'm actually going to take that question and rephrase it a little bit because to me, paranormal is anything unexplained. And I think too many people try to limit paranormal to ghost hunting or dealing with spirits. So I'm curious, Jill, being if you were overseas or any locations, if like you set something down and then you found it like later in another spot and you're like, I could have swore I set it there. Anything unexplained happened to you that you're like, I really, it's really weird that this happened, but I can't explain how it happened.
no, nothing really comes to mind. No, that's a boring answer, but I can't think of anything.
But
Well, no,
you have
actually, the boring
outside
answer would
the
be is if
military.
you started making something up and then somebody asked you further details and you're like, no, sorry, I really can't answer that because that didn't really happen.
It's top secret.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that episode was classified.
That's right. So I got my ghosty ribbon.
Are there any places? Because I'm guessing by the name of Oklahoma in the title, you guys pretty much go around Oklahoma. But is there any other places that the three of you, sit down and you're like, man, I really wish we could go over here, and check this place out or experience this over there?
Yeah, like bucket list places, you mean?
Yeah.
Allegheny.
Yeah.
That's
And
on my bucket list.
And we did the TB hospital, Waverly Hills. We did that. So we have sat down and discussed places we'd like to go and made a week of it. So
But where are some places like besides for like Allegheny? Where are some other places you and Brooke and Jill you guys want to go? Like bucket list places.
I don't have any, honestly. Like, I don't have any bucket list places that I'm just dying to go. I just want to continue to, like, we've been to Texas, we've been to Kansas a lot, we've gone to Iowa, just like one place in Iowa. I want to just continue to go to other states and explore what there is to explore there, but I don't have any like, oh, like this place I want to go,
Yeah, paranormal road trip.
Yeah, we do a lot of them already. Like most of our stuff, we're traveling out of town somewhere. Mm-hmm.
I have a long list, so I mean, sorry.
we just follow her to her bucket list.
And a lot of it is in the Northeast or like Indiana, oh gosh, Pennsylvania, New York. Just, I mean, there's just lots of places. Georgia, lots of places. So
yeah, I've traveled to like 47 out of the 50 states. I only have the Northeast where I'm missing some, but a lot of them now that I know are paranormal, and I'm like, man, do I restart the list and go and try to get to all 50 states for paranormal stuff? And I'm like, and
why
when I
not?
think about it, I'm like, do I even know 50 locations or people in 50 states to ask?
that's definitely part of it. Is it's getting very expensive to just take out on the road and rent the places for even an evening. So that is definitely a consideration.
And I find the bucket list places like Tammy, like you're talking about, like, well, not, I don't know about your list, but places that were my bucket list, those don't even end up being the best places. Like they kind of end up being a disappointment. So I like the less obscure, which I have to research and find those. I don't know, just wherever we plan on going, because they're typically not the places that everybody wants to go that are the best places. Like when we went to Waverly Hills, that was a bummer. Not a lot happened, and that not like we were so excited for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the travel and the money, and it's like such a big bucket list. But like we've had so much cooler experiences at other places.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with some of the places like Waverly Hills, Trans Allegheny, is there's so many teams that have been there and TV shows that have been there, and they make it so hyped up that when you go and you don't get that you're like, huh, well,
Yeah.
that was a
It's like you
bummer.
set your bar way up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta say that's one of the things like that Rob and I do on the road trips is when we go into a state, it's like I'll reach out to friends that are there and be like, hey, what's there to do in your state? And it's like, and you may end up in some of the really cool, well known places, and you may find these little like places on the side that are like even more cool. And I feel like doing it that way, one is you get to collaborate with teams and learn new techniques or see equipment that you've never seen. And you also get to see, teams in action and see what's, it like in that area.
Hmm. And they'll
And
take
what,
you to the little hidden gems that aren't real popular.
yeah,
The
like,
counseling office.
Like, who'd have thunk it?
and I gotta say, switching over now to our experience when we all were hanging out and investigating that location, I have to say I have never seen a REM. I think it was it a REM car, a REM pod car, or the coffin motion detector REM pod, and I was like just fascinated watching all this different equipment that you guys were using in such a small space, but in a way that it's like even though we weren't even in the room when stuff started going off, it's like, huh, the equipment's going off. I wonder, what's going on. And like Tammy and I went off into investigate the front room that was having stuff going on, and it just was really kind of to me more fun because of that.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's always great when you get responses on equipment that seem intelligent because, we like, especially with the music box that we were using, that thing, it can go off a lot. It can. So, I'm always over there like recalibrating. I'm going to reset this thing. We're going to see. I'm going to change the trajectory. Is there anything in front of it that could cause this? Like, I'm always thinking all these 500 things in my head. And if there's nothing to cause it and I turn it off and it doesn't act like it just acted a second ago, well, then that's a good indication that it's giving you a correct response. But is it intelligent? So then you have to take it that step further and actually, is it responding to the questions? Is it following command? And if it is, it's pretty incredible. I mean, that's when you just go, whoa, that's nuts. We're asking them to step away and it's stopping. We're telling them to get in front of it for a yes and it's working. So that's when it becomes even that step, that level higher, because we all love our equipment. We do. but we should never be like 100% like, oh yeah, that equipment went off, it's definitely working, because there are issues, especially with electromagnetic energy, you know, the static energy. There's always a possibility that you're having a static buildup in the air due to a storm coming in, or just all kinds of stuff. So you have to be careful. You have to really know your equipment.
No, and that's what I appreciated with, you know, being in the room and, you know, and Brooke and Jill, you know, dealing with their apps and, you know, just kind of talking in the other room. It kind of kept the energy, I feel like, in that area balanced to where if we all were in that little room, I feel like whatever activity we were going to get would be so easily missed because, like you're saying, you know, there's only so much space, so somebody could be setting it off, and the spirits are going to be like, hey, I'm trying to talk here, but you guys keep doing this. I'm just going to leave because there's too many people here and I'm getting crowded out.
We feel like that a lot, don't we, guys? Like when we're all in a confined space, we're like, we feel like we're stepping on them, or we're too.
Yeah, that's a big reason what you're saying, Tammy, is why we only have 3 people on our team.
Mm-hmm.
Is because the fewer the people, the more the activity sometimes, because it's not so. Oh, I don't know. Just like the more people, it just seems like they don't want to, like they're more skittish, they stay away or whatever. Not to say every location, but I feel like we have had more things happen when we're in smaller numbers than bigger numbers.
Yeah, and you definitely reduce the amount of, you know, foot noise and just all the external stuff going on with too many people. You know, because that can contaminate your evidence. So it helps to have a small team in that sense, because then you know, like, was that your voice, my voice? Okay, it wasn't our voice.
Plus,
Tammy gets to talking to herself.
Yes. She's fooled me many a times on ADPs.
I'm known to like just kind of be singing or humming or like.
Yeah.
I have to always go, Tammy, for audio.
Yeah. She'll just be thinking out loud. Oh, I wonder.
Yeah.
Talking about with the equipment, do you, Brooke and Tammy, because of your gifts, as I like to call them, because I don't like saying abilities or anything, because everybody can really do it if they thought about it, and it's my opinion, and so I like to keep everything kind of even keeled with it and not over sensitized to it. But do you feel like because you're more in tune with that and everything, that the equipment may respond better to you and validate what you're experiencing?
That's an interesting question. I've actually pondered this a lot, because we are all energy, right? So I've actually done some research, and the human body does actually give off a little bit of EMF. We're all energy. So I've wondered about that. Like, if my energy gets around the equipment, is my energy making it go off? And I mean, I have like done everything and anything I can do to test that. And I've never had it to where, yes, I can definitely say it's my energy effectuating the equipment. Now, if I'm touching it or getting up on it, well, then yeah, that's, you know, I'm breaking the plane physically on a REM pod. That's different, because you have to break the plane around the machine to actually make it go off. So that's a physical thing. That's different. But I've pondered that, and I've never been able to say yes, that's a factor that my energy affects it. But I do know in the back of my head from research that yes, we do have a certain amount of EMF that we put off. And if our energy is, like, say we're hyped up or we're anxious or whatever, you know, maybe that could be increased, and maybe it could aid to I think the entity or the spirits maybe feeling more comfortable or drawing from your energy to then put the equipment off. But I don't think our energy is doing it.
They say
No,
that.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that they say that, like, when you practice your intuition and you like practice those skills, raising your vibration, that it's almost like a visual aura to the other world, to the ether. And so, like, people like on the other side, whether they're earthbound or spirits who are wanting to, like connect with their loved ones or whatever, they like can see this like elevated vibration and they're drawn to people who can, communicate with them. So I do think that whenever we go into locations, especially having two of us together, and then sometimes there's another team where two people will join us, and one of them is a very seasoned medium, psychic medium as well. The more you have, the more energy that is being like in that space being attracted or attracting spirits. I'm having trouble talking. I'm so tired. Attracting spirits. So when Tammy and I go places and Jill too, like I feel like we get really good interactions because of what we're bringing in just with our own abilities.
Yeah, it's that lighthouse, that beacon that you hear about when you're a psychic medium or you're spiritual or you have that kind of, even like light workers, Reiki master, those type of people like just have a different aura that they vibrate higher. And then, it's that beacon or that lighthouse effect that they can see to you quicker.
Yeah. I used to get mad when those two would go off, like when we had the bigger group, and those two always got the action. And then my groups never got any action.
When we would split up into smaller
I'm
groups.
like, I am going with you guys this time. Yeah, they attract them.
I'm curious on a team level because everybody, talks about one, how hard it is for teams to stay free of drama, and two, because you guys are getting along so well, do you feel like when you go to a location, whatever's going on there goes, hey, I like these people. They're getting along great. They're having fun. Let's interact more with these people than that team that was here last week who they were bickering amongst each other and or maybe arguing about something and just weren't gelling. So do you feel like that may have an impact as well?
I think so. I think sometimes when we're just, laughing and not even thinking about, investigating, we're just taking a break, snacking and laughing. And sometimes that's when you get some really, really good stuff. I think they just like the different, not coming in and, kind of, bum rushing them, same thing every time. And I think they just like it when we're there, like we're just, hey, we're just here visiting and whatever. And I think they are drawn to that, personally.
Yeah, I think they like it too. Like times that we've gone in and played hide and seek with them, or we've had dance parties where, or did we just tell jokes? And if they like our jokes, they make the equipment go off, like when we have fun, I think it raises the energy in the room and they enjoy that change of pace.
Yeah, I think keeping the vibration high and I mean, in a sense, clutter free is what they are drawn to. So,
Yeah, I would have to agree because I mean it's funny how Jill refers to herself as the comic relief because I could hear her laughing more the night that Rob and I were there than anyone else. And I had to admit, to me, it made the night feel more at ease. But also, I liked that when we were there, we just were talking, and if equipment went off, then we're like, oh, let's switch to investigation mode, so to speak. And if it wasn't, we just kept chatting, getting to know each other. And I liked how, it wasn't like you see on the TV shows or with a lot of teams that will go in and every location is, you feel like they have a script of, okay, here's question 1, here's question 2, here's question 3, question 4. Let's go through this script.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're constantly reinventing like different exercises, different games, different ways to use the equipment, different ways to do things. Like we've been known to make up like flyers that you have like colors on them, and like let's see if we can get them to light the ball up on a certain color, or just whatever it is. We try to think outside of the box so that we get different things, so that we're not doing that mundane. Are you a man or a woman? Like,
Yeah. I will
Yeah.
say if we are on a residential, we are a lot more focused
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're there for a purpose, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're there to get answers, we're there to help them. And so we definitely get down to business focus. But if we're paying for a location or we're traveling, like we're curious, like what can we get them to do? Kind of like what Tammy is saying, like what can we experiment to see what their capabilities are? We did this one thing one time that was so cool where I came up with 3 questions and we all memorized the 3 questions. Then when we got on location, and I think we went to like 2 or 3 different locations that weekend, so we tried it at every single one. We turned on the ghost box, like the ghost radio, and so we could hear them answer. And then we just thought, okay, question 1, and we all thought it inside of our head, and they answered it through the ghost radio with a word. And then we thought, okay, question 2, and they answered it. And every single location, I'm pretty sure, was able to do it. So they could literally hear, well, like we tested, can you hear our thoughts, right?
Telepathy. Yeah.
That makes sense because thoughts are energy and they're energy, so it would make sense that they could understand. And it brings up a really good point too, because when my dad had passed away, a few days later I was on the phone watching a friend's live investigation, and she had to go run, so she's like, hey, can you monitor this? And I was like, all right, it's a good distraction from my head and what I was going through. And people would go, oh, I can't get the spirits to interact with this. And I would go and type of the message going, spirit, can you do this? And all of a sudden it would do it. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, because it knows me. And I'm sitting there, and every time they would say, I wonder why they don't do this. And when I asked them, and so I would ask them, and they would do it. And it dawns on me as this is going on, this spirit is responding to a text message over a live feed. So 1, how is he reading it? 2, how does, and it's like,
so you're going like this?
Getting it.
Like, is he right behind me?
So, like, to me, it reinforced, like we're saying, it's the energy. They can telepathic and they know. And I had this theory of when you're an investigator that really wants to communicate and, spend time with them, get to know them, tell their stories, so to speak, or, you're there for all the right reasons, the spirits will give you time. Whereas if you're there for your 15 seconds of fame to go, oh yeah, I can scream demon and I can do this or that and get ratings, they're going to be looking at you like, why should I waste my time? And you will have a quiet night.
Yeah. And that can work in reverse too, I think, because we will go into a place respecting
Yeah.
the spirits that are there. And sometimes people that go in there are being, I don't know how graphic I can get. So being asshats. Sometimes they do get interaction. It's not good.
Right.
But sometimes they'll get more than we will because we're going in there with respect. We're not going in there to try to stir things up. And sometimes they get more action by pissing them off. I'd rather not get any action.
But it's not the good kind of action you
No,
want.
that's why. Yeah, I would not. I'd rather not get any action than to piss them off. And
Yeah.
Ooh, I got scratched. I don't need that.
And I was
Nobody
talking
wants
with
to get
someone.
scratched.
Yeah, I was talking with someone today, and I was like, and they were asking me to define what I do on the show, and one of the things that I was saying is, yeah, my goal is to help people that are coming up in the field or are in the field realize you don't have to stir things up in a negative way to get responses that they will respond probably better if you didn't. But at the same time, though, if you stir things up, face it yourself. Don't send somebody else in to deal with what you stirred up. Because to me, that's unethical and immoral to
Yeah.
create this negative space and then go, oh, hey, you over there. It's your turn. Go deal with it. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it. Why do I need to go
Right.
get and experience this?
Well, and
But
to your point on the telepathy, like I cannot tell you the amount of times we've been at locations and we get an intelligent conversation going with equipment and we're thinking the next question and they're already answering quickly because they get so excited too because they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're communicating with us. You hear me." So before you can even get your question out, then we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, wait, step back. Hold on, step back. I know you can hear my thought, but step back. And we have to slow things down a little. And, but it's incredible when it happens like that, though, that you're getting such intelligent responses. And they do. They are hearing your thoughts. They're anxious to answer you. But there's a patience required on both sides because we're dealing with a realm that's not ours.
yeah, you and I were having that, Tammy, that night. Is both of us were like, I was just thinking that to their response, and to go, come on, let us ask the question, at least fully ask it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I really appreciate of you guys is a team. And I think I brought this up with Tammy before. Is I'm one of those paranormal investigators that I'm like, I could be dealing with a bad spirit who had a bad life and isn't, this evil entity, but the energy is really hard. And so people will misinterpret it as the quote demon, so to speak, and that they don't have reverence for what that means when they say that. And they just throw it out there. And I am like really like annoyed when that happens, and I'm like really wish that they would all stop doing that because I feel like one, if I was a spirit that was just mean and someone called me that over and over and over, I'd be like, if that's what you want, I'll give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa is the other thing is going, look, just because I'm in a bad mood today doesn't make me this. And if that's the way you're going to be, I'm just going to stop talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's hard. I know I still don't have all the answers. as many locations as we've been to. I mean, none of us have all the answers. And when we walk in, we still are like, okay, we think we know what's going on and we think we know what's happening, this entity, this spirit that's here with us. But none of us are above saying we have the answers, or that's exactly what's going on there, because you just don't know. And these locations that you go into, you have to remember, people are coming and going. It's a revolving door. Who was there a week ago? What did they bring with them? Did they open a portal, or is there a vortex? Like, what is going on in this location? It can change even during the week. So that's something that, you have to consider every property you go as well.
Right. And I'm curious, looking back and going, Tammy and I were looking for this portal there because we could feel it. And I wonder, in the back of my mind, and any of you can answer this if you want, I remembered that Tammy was playing this tuning, the kind of, I'm trying to think of the Tibetan bowl.
Oh, the drums thing,
to raise the energy. If that also could have preempted a portal opening, feeding off of the energy of that device. And so, did we create the portal that we were feeling there, or was it always there? And so that's my question is, does that, because we're ramping up the energy, do we unwillingly or unknowingly open portals?
Why not? I mean,
long, short answer, there's no way to know. Or can your energy do it by itself? Probably.
I've often joked that when I die, I'll be like, oh man, we got it so wrong.
I know. I thought the
same thing. Seriously. We were not even close.
Walking over that rainbow bridge one day and be like, wait a minute. All wrong.
Do you have thoughts on that, Brooke?
No, I don't know. I hope not. I hope that we're not. I mean, because part of what we like, especially if we're helping out residents and stuff, I would like to think it's more intention than just raising vibration and energy. That your intention of creating space for things to pass through that maybe are not welcomed matters more than, but I don't know, because if what you're saying is true, then it could be harmful to be doing this in people's homes and helping them in some way. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
Well, I agree, but at the same time, though, I know with dealing with Tammy, on shows and meeting the three of you, if say you did open the portal that we were experiencing, at the end, you thanked everything, you closed everything down, and I would say anything that was opened by us was closed. You don't leave things open. Unlike people who do Ouija boards or do other methods that go, talking with this spirit, okay, put it in a box, walk away, and it's like, you kind of forgot to close that ritual space that you opened. Are you even aware that you opened that?
Well, in creating access to communication, is that the same thing as a portal? I don't know, I think it's so hard. Like, there's just so many unknowns that we just have no idea what, and we're just even like, our idea of what a portal is, that could be even totally wrong, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I mean, who are we to think we have any control over opening or closing it in the first place? Maybe they can appear wherever the hell they want.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever time they want. And we have nothing to do with it. It's just atmospheric conditions, the right collection of storm come together, and that's why it happens, or somebody just drastically wants to get back to that location and they can do that.
I do like to think intention matters. So when we are connecting or wanting to communicate, I feel like our intentions matter a lot. And like if you think about even like spiritual intention, like if you're keeping yourself safe, right? You set just a metaphysical intention or just like a thought intention, right? Like to shield yourself from bad spirits, and God protects us that way. So I don't know. I feel like intention really matters.
Yeah, and I agree with Brooke on that 100% because intention is everything. It's beyond everything. I mean, your thoughts, your feelings, what you're experiencing is going to be like your intention can control whatever's going to happen tonight.
Right. And even though I may leave a space when I do investigations, I know I may have opened portals communicating using energy. I have the intention, even if I don't verbally say it, everything closes when I leave. And everything stays where it is or goes and does whatever it wants to do, but not coming home with me. It's like,
well, you better verbally intend that too.
Yeah.
I'll verbally say
Think
no one's
it
going
or
home
say
with me.
it. Don't just assume it. Think it, say it. Don't assume it.
The funniest time, you guys, I know you're going to remember.
Oh my gosh!
I know you know what I'm going to say.
Wait, there's a couple of them.
Okay. Well, one time that was the funniest is we had left a location and we had totally forgotten. We had totally forgotten to be like, you can't come, and you're not allowed to come with us, and all this stuff. And we're sitting at a gas station, and we're like, okay, we just realized that we needed to have cleared the energy. And so we're out there doing it at the gas station, arms up, eyes closed, saging ourselves, doing all our stuff, anointing ourselves. During the day.
Car packed to the rim because we were out of town. So we were getting gas. I thought you were going to say, so I thought of that one.
Yeah.
And then the other one I thought of
just was we really quick. Some lady thought we were getting ready to go camping and we were applying bug spray. And so anyway, just funny. But go ahead, Brooke.
The other one that I was thinking of that I didn't know if you were going to say is when we were doing a residential and we forgot to say nothing can come with us. And we're driving in the car and the lady calls Jill because Jill's kind of our case manager where she'll, she's the point of contact for the clients. And she calls Jill and she's like, oh, well, I just got home and it feels so much better here. And Tammy and I looked at each other like, oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
And then Tammy and I rode together. So she drops me. We call Jill. We're like, Jill, clear yourself, sage yourself free, go inside. And so Tammy drops me off. I get my stuff. We already even forgot. And I walked in and Tammy had drove it off. And so I called her. I'm like, oh my God, I walked in my house and you forgot to cleanse me. And I did not. I had stuff happen, didn't I? For a week. Yeah. And we had to cleanse again. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, she was like, oh, the one time we forgot to say you can't come with us. She's like, it feels so much better here. Right. We didn't even do anything. We didn't even cleanse anything at her house. I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. I was more referring to closing the portals or any ritual space that I created. But yeah, you're right. You do have to verbalize it. And I saw Tammy is in the chat room responding, but we had someone post up that said, blessed evening to all. She just came across this and she knows Tammy. And so
I know who she is. Yeah. I told her hello. Nice
she said, very nice to meet everyone. And she was asking if Brooke and Jill are also a psychic. So I don't know if Brooke, you want to go over that, or Marie, we kind of answered that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
I am intuitive and I read tarot and I have the ability to see spirits that have passed, like when we're on location, and I have connected to people's loved ones, but I just don't call myself that. I don't practice it as far as like besides investigating um, and helping with that. I don't do gallery readings and I really don't even do private readings anymore, like with my cards or anything like that. So, I mean, I have intuitive abilities. I just don't really like label myself that.
Yeah, and they tell me I do, and I have had some weird things happen, but I personally am not comfortable with it myself. So I kind of stopped opening myself up to that. I just don't trust that I know what I'm doing enough to protect myself. So it's kind of on a back burner right now.
No, and I respect that because I think a lot of people in the field jump into things because everybody wants to get known or build a reputation, and so they'll jump and they'll be like, "Oh, I can do that," even though they really don't know what they're doing and how to do it right
Right.
to the full extent. And it's like, yeah, I'm like, chill, people. It's not a race to get into the paranormal field. There's
If
plenty of field to go around.
if I could have asked my 10-year prior self if I would have seen my now self doing what I do, the answer would have been no. Because I have had stuff my entire life since I was a young kid, but I shut it down out of fear. Because as a small child, it scared me. I didn't know what I was dealing with. I didn't understand it. I didn't have the support system to go to someone at that time that understood it. And that was kind of a period of time back, I was a young kid in the 70s. So that had something to do with it as well. But yeah, I would never have considered doing all the things I do now without the years of letting it go and then actually diving back in and learning and studying and really trying to pick it apart and understand, why do these things happen, or why is this happening to me, or what do I need to do, what do I need to clear from my own personality, from my own self, so that I can make everything easier. Because it's coming from a place of just true genuine, like, you have to sit in the power, be quiet, you have to not be hearing anything, thinking anything. It's like a meditative state is a good way to put it. But it's I never would have saw myself doing this 10 years ago. I was just kind of like a paranormal enthusiast. Like, I liked ghost stuff, I liked spooky stuff. um so it's definitely not something that everybody should just jump to. I definitely suggest highly, like, finding a mentor, or finding someone that you can kind of take you under their wing and teach you the clairs and teach you all the different modalities of it and what you need to do to protect yourself, because that is very important. Protection is very important.
Brooke and Jill, do you have anything you want to add or state on that?
Nope, I got nothing.
Nope, I agree.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Tammy, you bring up your past self, and when I first got into the paranormal field, I was asked to do a podcast show by a network executive, and I was like, nobody's gonna listen to me. I don't know anybody in the paranormal field. I don't even know what this paranormal field is. So no. And he goes, "Are you sure? 'Cause you'd be great at it." I was like, "No." And 3 years later, I run into the same person, and he goes, "Hey, say hi to somebody online." And so I'm looking at this phone on a stand, and I'm like, "Hi," and looking forward to this conversation. And I get pulled away, and I come back, and I go, man, I missed my 15 seconds of fame, just being funny. And he goes, oh no, we have bigger things in mind for you. So, about that show, and that's when I got started. I figured now I have some familiarity, I have a little foundation. So, yeah, it's interesting how where we started to where we are now. I think for a lot of people is nowhere near where we thought we would be.
And Brooke, I don't know if you know Michael. I think you do though, but Brooke is an author, and she has been writing psychological thrillers now. She's like, I think, are you on your fourth or fifth?
No, I'm writing my fourth.
Okay. So, but like in a very short period of time. And she's just, I mean, her books are amazing. So she's been spending a lot of time with her authorship, and you need to go get one of her books.
I'm telling you,
Or
Tim,
all of
you
them.
need to stop reading my mind. You gotta stop getting into my energy field, Tammy, because I was just going to flip over to Brooke and go, do you want to take some time to talk about your book?
Really? That's funny. Oh. Opportunity. Brooke.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. My very first one that I published was because of the paranormal field. I wrote Haunted Atchison. Atchison is like, there's so many haunted locations in Atchison, Kansas. And we had traveled there. One of our favorite locations is there. And a lot of people know about the Sally House. So I wrote a book about that. And then I've got another one of those kind of books coming out actually this year, like in, I think, August. And it's going to be Haunted Oklahoma Brothels and Saloons. So it's kind of like, those books are nonfiction. They're like the history and the hauntings of that location. And a lot of the hauntings are not just hearsay. Some of it is, but it's a lot of it like things that we got into those places and were able to investigate ourselves. And so it's our personal experiences too. And then, yeah, so I wrote a novel last summer, a thriller, and fell in love with writing fiction. And so I'm kind of done with the nonfiction books, and I'm just like popping out all these scary, dark serial killer stories.
Did you see that look you just gave? They're good, and they're so twisted. And I haven't even tapped my foot in. Jill knows more right now. Jill's read more than I have.
Jill's my beta reader. She reads before it goes to get published to make sure.
She usually is like way ahead of me though. She'll be writing another book before I finish reading the last one.
No, so I'm curious, Brooke, I know some authors will put like little bits of truth into the fiction, or like I have one friend who I met that's an author that now has like a haunted doll that he'll put in a picture in the book, and you got to go find it. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo of the paranormal game. So I'm wondering, in your books, any thoughts of, is there like a hidden message or a common theme that you're like putting in the books to see if people will notice?
Well, it's funny you say that, because Haunted Oklahoma Brothels and Saloons, Jill went on a lot of the research trips with me, but I think specifically, you didn't know I was going to talk about. So one specifically, we went to Tulsa and Sapulpa. So when you flip through that, look at the pictures that are of the locations, because you might see a Jill foot or a Jill arm. But we did it on purpose. We did.
I forgot about that.
I was taking a picture of the building, and I was like, nope, you're not out of the way. You're not out of the way. And then we were like, hey, how about you just hide somewhere in all of the pictures? And where barely only we know you're there. So Jill is the Easter egg in all of the, well, at least a lot of the pictures. So be looking for that. But in the fiction ones, no.
So see, Jill, you're not just the comic relief; you're also the hidden model.
Welcome. Oh yes, the elbow model.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that, and I know we ran a little bit over the hour, and I know it's late, and everybody's getting, ready for tomorrow. So I want to thank you all for coming on, and thank you again for a wonderful evening. And I'm curious, if you guys want to share where people can find your videos, if you post any, or your team.
Yeah, go ahead, Tammy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Afterlife Paranormal Investigations of Oklahoma on Facebook. We do have an Instagram channel as well, but we're not on it as much. So Facebook is our primary. There you can see all our videos that have been uploaded, and we have a lot. We have a lot of videos.
Yeah, we have a group and a page for Facebook, and I would say the page is the best place to go access the videos and the pictures, like archivally. But and then join the group because that we also share a lot of stuff there. But if we go live from the page. We also have a website, which is API of Oklahoma, or is it just okay? I think it's Oklahoma, API of Oklahoma.com. So we don't use that as much as I thought we were going to. Best intentions. Joe was right. But it's still there.
Well, for everyone's benefit, the links are all in the bio.
Thank you.
So if you,
Yeah, thanks.
so if you want to make sure you go to the right place, check the bio.
And then my author, I have an author page on Facebook, Brooke Montoya, author, and Tammy has Tammy Christine Radon, or Tammy Christine Medium, for readings or gallery readings. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I
was about to say, Jill, when you get in a page?
I am not.
Jill enjoys her weekends without having to write or work an extra anything. So I think she is just fine having nothing.
I'm good.
I don't know. I can totally see Tammy having the medium page, Brooke having the author page, and Jill having the comic page.
Comedian page. Also, there's a group called Intuitive Endeavors on Facebook. And if any of your viewers are interested in like psychic support, or we do remote viewing exercises every week, that group also can be joined. And we just help people with their abilities. And it's just a little network of people that we're all kind of in the same boat together, and we just help each other.
What is that group again?
Intuitive Endeavors.
Intuitive, right?
Yep.
I thought you said intuitive.
Facebook or
Intuitive. Yeah, on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So, and I know Mari was asking a question earlier. I don't know where it went now. About spirit guides or something.
Oh, she was asking if you can name spirit guides or.
Can you sense spirit guides of other spiritual sensitives online? Yeah. So, okay. So I guess I would answer that. The remote viewing, yes, I can. That's like I do most of my readings through Zoom. It doesn't make a difference if you're sitting right in front of me or if you're, on a computer screen, on the phone, whatever. Yes, it's a way to do it through remote viewing, basically. So you don't have to be right in my presence. But yes, yeah, I can read either way.
Very cool. And I can attest Tammy is an awesome medium to get a reading from. And I can tell you, if Brooke was still doing some, I probably would reach out to her as well. Sorry, Tammy, I do spread around.
We still does Sparrow. She still does it. Undercutting herself.
Mainly just on locations.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Michael, get readings from Tammy and enjoy escaping the world and reading about serial killers through me.
There you go.
I'm totally
There you
going to
go.
do that.
That's fair.
I am totally putting your books, Brooke, on my Amazon wish list. And
Put them on your TBR, your to be read.
I'm like, yeah, I love that subject, and I look forward to. I'll definitely be getting those books.
Yeah. Oh, and one, Michael, that I enjoy, which is really cool, like for our team specifically, is it's called Dying to Belong, Investigating the McIntyre Villa. It's one of the most haunted places we've ever been, and we've gone lots of different times. Like we've even stayed an entire week at this place. But this book it has the history and all of that, but it also, like I literally transcribed sessions that we did over time at this location. So it's kind of like you're investigating alongside with us. So if people are curious what that looks like, it's on Amazon, and it's also free on Kindle Unlimited if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. But if you're curious about what investigating looks like and evidence that we've gotten, this is a great place. And then you can go back and watch the Facebook videos of the stuff that we talk about in the book too. So
Yeah, I gotta say, out on just on a side note, I don't know who does your guys' photography, but your team photos that you sent me, I was like, these are so awesome. I was like trying to figure out which one do I use, and I was like,
she is amazing, isn't she? She's done all of my kids' senior pictures and our family photos, but her name is Mandy Davis, and it's Mandy Davis Photography if you're in Oklahoma. She's so
Yeah.
yeah,
That was a fun photo shoot.
Yeah, it was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. And she did our witchy photo shoot too. She's done both of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there's witchy photos? Did you guys send them?
I just gave you the newer ones. I didn't give you those.
Yeah. Bill's in a
Not on
leather
me.
vest, and Tammy and I are wearing like corsets and what's that stuff called? Twill? What's that stuff called?
Oh,
Like a
Tool.
Tool. See, yeah, whatever. I don't.
Kind of naughty. Kind of
Like a
naughty.
tutu skirt.
We're wearing tutus.
I don't do it. Words are hard at 8:00.
All I gotta say is the fact that you're wearing corsets, I'm like, my first thought was, I'm sorry. That had to be uncomfortable as all get out.
It was a lot, but they were cute.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. That goes right along with the chat conversation about serial killers with a C or an S, and then he put Fruit Loops later.
Oh, yeah, well.
Both. It could be both. You never know.
Yeah. I don't know. Serial, like, maybe I have a new plot.
I know, new book idea.
That sounds exciting.
Snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah.
Rice Krispies, snap, crackle, pop.
I can see it now. Brooks going, how to
Fuel.
commit the perfect murder with Fruit Loops.
That's the fuel. The fuel.
Thank you all for coming on. I know it was a little bit of short notice asking you guys, so I do appreciate it. And like I said, I had so much fun meeting you guys, and hopefully we'll be able to collaborate again, because I'll be back in Texas soon, and you guys being in Oklahoma, I mean, we're like neighbors, literally.
Yeah.
Not
Good.
far away.
Thanks for having us, Michael.
Yeah,
Good night.
it's been fun.
Yes. So good night to you guys. Good night to, and thank you to everyone in the chat room. And I also want to say we were a little bit late starting due to some technical issues. And also, thank you all for watching because I know we did come on earlier than the normal time. And so I'm grateful for everyone that was able to tune in and catch this. And for everyone else who's looking for us at the usual time, I hope you enjoy the replay.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Night.
Thank you all. And with that, I am going to say good night to everyone and have a wonderful week. And also, don't forget to like, click, and subscribe. And do follow their material, the API Facebook. Go and like their page and follow them. So, with
Said
that
a
being
ghost
said,
girl.
yeah. Good night, everyone.
See you
Night.
later.
Good night.